Hello again, everybody. I'm Snapper Lancaster, welcoming you to another edition of the Central Alabama High School Sports Show. And yeah, folks, we're on the road again, and this time we're at Gardendale High School, home of the Rockets, where we'll be visiting with some of their coaches and some of their athletes. And of course, this is always an exciting time for the high school athletes because it's playoff time. Football and track and the fall sports are into their playoffs, volleyball as well. And so I tell you, it's a busy time of the season, and all the coaches are hoping that all their athletes and teams are peaking at this time, because come playoff times when it all counts, you can make mistakes along the way during the regular season, but it's one and done when we get to the playoffs. Very important time of the year. We've got a lot of teams in the Birmingham area that's going to be involved in playoffs, and a lot of championships that are going to be won right here out of Jefferson County. So, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have our first guest of the afternoon, so don't you go away. We'll be right back.
You know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrew Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And folks, as you can tell, I've got my first guest of the afternoon, and we're talking about Coach Chad Eads. And Coach, I know this is your second year here at Gardendale. You've got another playoff team. Y'all got a streak going, I think, 6 years in a row. And I know Stephen was involved, my grandson, with some of those. And so Gardendale has a special place for me. And talk about the transition from the first year, second year. You've got with the group 2 years now, and there's a lot of difference in that first and second year as far as relationships and what you're going to be doing. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I know just starting the second year, just the relationship with the kids and understanding their personalities, kind of knowing what things make them tick, the things they get excited about, things that get them down, different ways to motivate them. I know the second year is a lot easier understanding that, and that's the thing that stood out this year was just knowing a little bit more about their personalities.
Well, going into this season, and of course, I'll be visiting with some of the athletes in a couple of minutes as well. But talk about, I think there's, if this is the right way to put it, a comfort zone sort of into the second year because you get over that hump of the newness, even for the head coach. And talk about that relationship. Does that make a lot of what you do a little bit easier because it's not the first time, it's the second year?
Well, the second year, you've learned your way around the school. You know who you can depend on, who you can go to for help. You just understand those things a lot more. You don't feel like you're scrambling all the time. That first year, you always feel like you're always catching up. And then
Right.
In the second year, you feel like some of it becomes routine and those things become easy, and then you're able to focus on the kids more than you are to just the events and getting those things done. You're able to focus on the individual athletes.
I know going into your second year, you've got a year under your belt here, and then another year, you've got that second year with some of the same athletes. What were your expectations coming into this year? Because a lot of the unknowns are knowns this time. You have a lot of that you know what to expect and who to expect what out of. But as a transition for you, is that a little bit easier? And then you can, I don't know if this is the best way to put it, get down to teaching the football the way you wanted to without those question marks of all this thing that comes with the first year that you don't deal with the second year.
Well, in the first year, I know on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, you're putting in a system, but the kids are never totally learned the entire system. You're just trying to get things done, just to get through a season, basically. And and then you come back the next year. You got an off season to continue to teach the offense, continue to teach the defense, and for the kids to understand their role and to change positions. We've got some kids who played positions last year that they're not playing this year. They've moved. Right. They've moved positions, and it gives you time to do that and figure out kind of what's best for each kid. Because as they grow, their positions change, or what they did for the old coach, they may not be suited for that anymore. And they got to fit our systems, and so all that's made that easier. Just made that possible. And
of course, with the first round of the playoffs coming up here in a couple of days. Has your team suffered any major injuries, or are most of them sort of nagging, and you hope that the players are as healthy as they can be as you enter the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, we're actually, I was talking to our trainer a little bit ago, we're in a lot better shape than we were this time last year. We've been fortunate to have very few major things, kids that were out for a long period of time. Most of it's been just little nagging injuries, and it's amazing how the playoffs start and those nagging injuries don't get mentioned anymore.
Right.
Because everybody wants to be on the field, and but I think our training staff does a great job with treatment every day, and then just having an off season and getting them stronger. Has cut back on a lot of that.
Well, I know going into this first round, you guys will be traveling, and I don't know if it's always an advantage. I would like to think most of the time it is if you get that first round game at home. Yeah. But in order to do that, you got to finish one or two. Now, your team is going to be on the road. You're going to Minor. What do you know about Minor? How do you think your team, from what you can see on film and what the season has shown, matches up? And is this a good first round matchup for you?
Well, it's a great first round matchup. I actually know a lot about them. The head coach, Adrian Abrams, is a longtime friend of mine, and our children are friends. So this will be a fun night for our families, for at least half of the coaching families.
Right.
But I know they're very athletic. If you watch the film from early in the year, they've improved a lot over the season. What they do on offense is very similar to us. They do a lot of the same things. I think they're a physical team, and I know just his personality, they're going to be a physical team.
Well, going into this game, I guess we talk with coaches a lot about defense for the simple reason that if you keep the other team from scoring, you got a pretty good chance of winning the ball game. If you hold the score down, your team is always in it. Do you think that you got the kind of defense that can do that?
I think so. I mean, we're athletic on defense. We're not a big team. We're not big on offense or defense, but we're athletic, and I'll always take that over a big defense. We got our kids are playing hard on defense. They've been in tough situations all year, and they've responded. Whether it's late in the game needing to get a stop, or just in a long drive and still coming away without giving up any points. I've seen them do that this year, and they've done it because of playing hard, and then they've continued to improve on their knowledge of the scheme, and then just in their own techniques. So all that has added up to be a good defensive year.
Well, on the offensive side of the football, is your philosophy more you want to move it on the ground, or you would like to move it in the air? Or I think in an ideal situation, most coaches would love it to be balanced.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, talk about with your offense and what we can expect out of
Well, I want it to be balanced. I want it to be a physical but simple run game. I think you can't put too many schemes in on an offensive line. They've got to be able to execute those, and without having a bunch of time to sit and think about it. I think the more you make kids think, the more it slows them down playing. I want it to be even. I want us to be balanced. I think a good run game not only people talk about it helps you throw the play action deep balls, but it also helps in protection. And then the more you can throw the ball, it helps you run the ball.
Right.
The two are tied together. And both sides help each other, the run game and the passing game. But I like to see them both. But as an offensive line coach, I do like to see the ball run.
Well, I was going to say, I hear a lot of coaches, and I'm sure maybe you've done this some in the past, as all coaches do. The ones that don't particularly like to throw are the ones that say two bad things happen, only one good when you're throwing the football.
Right.
But I think in an ideal world, you want to be as balanced as you possibly
Yes.
can.
Oh, yeah.
Because one side helps the other. The more your offense is on the field, the less your defense, and
That's right.
vice versa. So going into it, you feel good about what y'all have done, and maybe the Gardendale Rockets are ready to make some noise in the playoffs.
I hope so. It's been a good year.
Well, Coach, it's always good to visit with you, and this is always an exciting time of the year. Playoffs always is. Wish you all the luck in the world, and we're going to be talking with some of your players and get those thoughts along that
All
line.
right, thank you very much.
So good luck Friday night.
All right,
okay?
thank you.
And we'll take a quick break. We come back. We're going to be visiting with some participants in this Friday night's football game. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I combined home and auto with State Farm. Saved $760. Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gardendale in Trussville today.
And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got three outstanding young athletes here that pretty doggone good football players. The indication of that is their team has made the playoffs first round this Friday night, and sitting closest to me, Bailey Parsons Sr., tight end and long snapper. And didn't know you had part of my name, did you? And then we've got Justin Parks, and Justin's a junior defensive back.
Yes, sir.
And then finally, Will Crowder, junior quarterback. So, Bailey, we'll start with you. Going into this season, and we already know, we talked about it with the head coach, you guys are used to being in the playoffs, so that's no surprise. You'd probably be a bigger disappointment if you weren't, because this is the sixth year, I think, in a row y'all have made the playoffs, right? So, Bailey, going into this season, what was your personal goals for you and as an individual and for you and your teammates?
Our biggest goal was to get the region championship, which we didn't get that done, but we got a step closer. Playoffs wasn't really a goal, it was more of an expectation. So, the goal is still a state championship, but it all starts Friday night, and we're sitting at 0-0, so.
Okay, and then this is one of those situations where a lot of times, and I didn't say something to Coach about this, you would have seen a team sometime that you're going to face in the playoffs. This is a little bit different. You didn't see Minor this year, so that'll be a little more of a challenge because you don't know exactly what to expect except what you're told or what you see on film, right? Justin, junior defensive back, and does it surprise you, first of all, that you've made the playoffs, and what kind of season did you expect for yourself?
No, sir, it didn't surprise me at all. We worked very hard in the off season, starting in January, working out at 6 a.m. in the morning and just lifting weights every day. And I feel like I had a pretty good year. I feel like I'm playing hard, way harder than I was playing last year.
So you and your defensive teammates, did you play defense last year as well? All right, you and your teammates, talk about, has it been easier the second year under a new coach? I mean, there's a little, know what to expect out of the coach. Coach knows what he wants out of you. And so from that standpoint, has this made this a better year, easier year?
Yes, sir. We know what Coach Eves expects of us, and we know how hard to play and how hard he wants us to play. And I feel like it's really helped this year.
Oh, good. And then Will, of course, as the old saying goes, on offense, it all starts with you.
Yes, sir.
So does it surprise you, or what do you expect for yourself? And I'm going to ask you just a question that's a curiosity question, because I'm sure every quarterback feels one way or the other. Would you rather hand off, or would you rather throw the football?
It's a good question. I feel very comfortable doing either. I know my receiving core, if I put it in the air, they're going to go get it. And O-line's going to block their butt off, whether it's a pass or a run. And I know if I hand it off to either Jason Brooks or LT, I know they're going to do what they do with it. So.
Well, let me ask you, I guess there was a lot of questions, not only like in the coach's mind last year, but in the player's mind. What to expect from the coach, what kind of system we're going to run, this and that and the other. So from that standpoint, how much easier had the second year been, because you knew what to expect, then you just had to go out and be the best you could possibly be?
Yes, sir. Definitely having the second year, under your belt, helps. Everyone feels very comfortable around each other. Still working out the kinks, but I think, we're on the climb. So.
Well, let me ask you this: do you participate in any other sports?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I play basketball.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but which just because the coach is sitting over there. But what do you love the most?
Definitely football. Football's always been my first love. Ever since I was little, growing up. So.
Okay. Well, Justin, did you participate in any other sports?
I also play basketball.
Really?
Yes, sir.
You a shooter?
Yes, sir, but I can't dribble though. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's all right. I like an honest man. But it don't matter what you can do there. If you can put the ball in the hole, you're doing good, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how about you, Bailey? You participate in the other sports?
Not senior year, but before football, I also played basketball, baseball, and some track.
Really? And so then you just whittled it down to what? Is it just football only now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. And I understand that you're going off to Stanford.
Yes, sir. I will be after school this year.
Well, and I tell you what, that lets me know one thing. You're pretty doggone smart. That if you don't make it as a football player, you're going to make it doing something else. Now, an athlete always is their goal is either play in college, and then the bigger goal than that, if you're good enough one day, maybe be a professional. But in your case, I'll ask you this question respectfully. If sports isn't in your future down the road, what would you hope you might want to do one day?
I'm hoping to go into law.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
In other words, if Coach gets into trouble, he'd be glad to see you coming, right?
For the right price, yes, sir.
You got this man thinking what it's all about. All right. Now, I know that you guys practice hard, and I know that you're good in the classroom, or you wouldn't make it to the football diamond in this case. So what I really want to know is, what does Bailey do to relax from the pressure from the books and the pressure from the hits on the practice field and in ball games? You got to have some quiet time sometime. What do you do with it?
Football actually is my relaxation. That is kind of the break from just, being a kid. That is the fun of being a kid, is being able to come out here and play football with guys you've grown up with, guys you hang out with. And So for me, that's my relaxation.
Well, okay. Justin, how about you?
Well, I have a lot of animals. I have goats, so I like to play with them a lot and feed
Really?
them. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Goats.
I have 11 of them. Yes, sir.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Then the only question that I got left to ask, why do you not have an even dozen?
Sir.
How'd you stop with 11?
Well, they gotta have kids.
I should have known that. That's a pretty good answer there. So you're busy with your goats.
Yes, sir. All the
Okay.
time.
Are they your friends or your enemies? I mean enemies.
I like them. They scared of me though.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
So they know who's boss, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
But it's that just gives you a little relaxation too, or you know, an avenue to go in a different direction other than where the pressure is, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about you, Will?
I think kind of what Bailey touched on was, you know, going out there and playing sports, really anything to get your mind off of kind of the outside world. So.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, of course, the coach wants you focused. I'll ask it this way, and we'll start with you, Will, being the quarterback. Do you think you and your teammates are playing your best offensive football right now?
I think we can always improve. You know, as a team, that's every position, starting from me to the lineman. I mean, wherever on the field. But you know, we can always improve everywhere.
Okay, Justin, how about you? You and your defensive guys feel like y'all playing your best football right now?
I feel like we're playing well, but we can also stop teams from scoring, which is what we're trying to do this Friday.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And I touched on it with the coach too. If the other team don't score, you got pretty good chances of winning, or if you hold that score down, you're always in the ball games, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Bailey, from your standpoint, you feel like you guys are ready for the playoffs, right?
Yes, sir. I believe we're ready for the playoffs. This is a team that I feel that no matter what really is going on, we're going to keep pushing, keep fighting through adversity throughout the game, and I feel like we're ready.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, the last question I got, and I always enjoy hearing what you athletes have to say. And so we'll start with you, Bailey. To this point in your young life, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
The most inspirational person, probably my older brother, because he was the same age as your grandson, so I got to play with him for 2 years, and just watching him through, it was just kind of something to look up towards, and just how he walked through life and everything. It was
good for you. How about you, Justin?
I would say my dad. He pushes me through a lot and shows me a lot of things.
Well, of course, they're always in our corner. Sometimes even when we do wrong, they're there to help get us on that right path. How about you, Will?
I think my family, my 2 older brothers and my mom and my dad, definitely having them to fall back on, you know, whenever I need any help or any advice, they're always there for me. So.
Well, I tell you what, guys, of course, like I said, Gardendale holds a special place in my heart on account of my grandkids. So I wish y'all all the luck in the world, and may your best football still be ahead of you, okay?
Yes, appreciate it.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a different coach, different sport. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons, we have spine surgeons, we have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Injury Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, postoperative decisions, preoperative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making that gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them, we're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Injury Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I've got a different coach sitting here. Track is going to be the sport we'll be talking about right now. And Eric Firestone. And Coach, I understand you wear two hats when it comes to the coaching. Talk about that a second.
Well, it's a lot of fun. I get a lot of the same athletes. I coach football and also track. Keeps me busy in the springtime, but also I get to train our football players in their off season.
I was going to say, because people don't think about it until you say something, because usually you're looking for coaches in their sports just to be, a little bit, few months, few weeks out of a season. Here you're coaching all year long in the indoor and outdoor and cross country, right?
Well, I don't do cross country or indoor, but we do outdoor, and we start in January.
Oh, okay.
So I get a couple months off, but like I said, we treat it as an off season for our football players as well.
Well, and that's an interesting fact too, because every athlete, no matter what sport it is, wants to be the best they can be. And so tell people a little bit about your background and how you've ended up here at Gardendale.
Well, I've moved around a pretty good bit. I started my coaching career in Texas. I coached out there for a couple of years, and then me and my wife were both from Alabama. We wanted to move back, and so we've just different opportunities opened up. I've always been able to climb up and either move up in as far as a position coach or to a coordinator, and then to a bigger school, and just God led us here to Gardendale.
And now, which two seasons do you do the track? Do you do them 2 out of the 3?
No, I just do spring, but it takes up most of the spring semester. Like I said, we start practice in January, right. And then the competition is late February, and then the state track meets the first weekend in May.
Well, being one of the football coaches too, do you have quite a few of the athletes that run track, or some of them?
Absolutely. Most of the sprinters and our throwers are football players. Now, I try to get some other athletes as well, and then I try to recruit them to play football.
Right.
But there's a lot of crossover between track and football.
Now, on the football side of it, your position is what?
I'm the defensive coordinator.
So you're working with the athletes, and I guarantee you quickness and endurance. There's a couple of the things that you want out of your football players, but that's speed too.
Absolutely.
And so, do you get to work with some of your players in the spring?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I do, and that's a big thing. You can never be too fast. You can never be too strong. So that's something that we're always working towards.
And there aren't a whole lot of coaches that have dual jobs like this. And I don't know any other way to ask this. Is one day your hope to be a head coach in one of the sports?
Yes, sir. I did like to be a head football coach one day.
Oh, really? Okay. So this is just like any other job where you got an assistant coach. Mm-hmm. It's not only your job, but your hope maybe one day it's a stepping stone to a head coaching job. So being the coach, of the football team, and then seeing some of the athletes too. That gives you're able to keep a hand sort of in on what the kids are doing as far as trying to stay in peak condition for both sports.
Correct.
Right? And so, what is the challenge of that? I mean, like you said, if you had a chance to be a head coach as football, would that be the same thing? Would you look forward to being maybe a head track coach if that opportunity ever opened up?
Absolutely. We do it a little bit different here at Gardendale High School. We have a boys track coach, that's me, and then we have a girls track coach. So we don't really have a head track coach, but
Right.
absolutely. My goal one day is to be a head football coach.
And the thing about it, those two sports, football and track, they definitely help each other as far, especially from the football side, I would think. You know,
Absolutely.
so do you sort of try to steer some of your athletes to doing that?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
Because
In both ways.
yeah, so what is the challenge as far as mastering both those coaching things? How does that work for you?
Well, the good thing about track, most of the events are not too technical. We do work on a lot of form, running form. When it gets to now like throwing, the javelin or the shot put or the discus, there's a little more time involved in that. We don't do pole vault, but if we were to do that, that's very time involved as well. But most of it is running form, working on quickness, speed, those types of things. I think they both correlate with each other.
Yes.
And it doesn't take away from football. And in fact, like I said, most of our athletes play two sports, and even in the spring, some of our athletes play like 7-on-7. They do other things as
Right.
well. So track doesn't really interfere with that.
Well, so from that standpoint, you're really in a pretty good position where you can help kids in both areas without there being a conflict.
Absolutely.
And so what that does, I guess, is allow those athletes to be the best athletes they can possibly be. Now, what is the challenge for you as far as judging from just talking with you a few minutes here that you hope one day to be a head football coach? But you want to be the best track coach you can be as well. So I mean that means that you try to stay on top of it for both sports.
Correct.
From that standpoint.
Well, there's things that I miss in the spring. There's coaching clinics that I'm not able to go to because we have track meets and things like that. But the good thing about track is it's pretty flexible. Now, there's, again, like anything else, if you're going to put any time into it, you're going to take away from something else, whether it be your family or professional development, things like that. But so far, I haven't had any issues with that.
So it's in one sense, it's sort of a juggling act.
Yes.
But yet on the other side of it, when you're doing something you enjoy, where one, and it sounds like maybe a crazy thing to say, but makes perfect sense to me, may help the other.
Absolutely.
And so you're helping athletes not only on the football side, but the track side as well. And like you said, some of them even do both.
Correct.
And so it's sort of a win-win situation from that standpoint. Well, getting away from the track just as the time is getting away from us, talking a little bit about the football, what specifically do you coach on the football side?
I'm a linebackers coach and defense coordinator.
So, okay, well then that's a pretty healthy job right there.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit and ask you about a football question on it. Do you feel like the team is peaking at the right time? That's what coaches, I think, always hope for. You hope no injuries, if that's possible. You get bumps and bruises on, but no major injuries, and hoping they're peaking at the right time. So, do you feel that way about your
I think
football
so.
players?
We're playing pretty well, especially on defense. I think we're playing really, really well. So far, we don't have any major injuries. Everybody's, if they do have some injuries, they're fighting through it, and they're excited about playing a playoff game.
Well, I was going to say the most exciting thing about it for you, if they're ready to go, is that your defense plays well, then you give your offense a chance to help put a W on that scoreboard.
That's right. I hope so anyway.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, I hope not only that the football athletes have a wonderful playoff, but that when you get to the spring, that things go well for you and your tracksters there as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And, awfully good to have you on, and good luck this Friday night.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We get back, a couple more athletes. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I combined home and auto with State Farm. Saved $760. Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gardendale in Trussville today.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well. And folks, welcome back, and we've changed sports in this segment. Instead of football players, we're going to be talking to tracksters, and the tracksters may play a little football too. So sitting closest to me, Derek Carter, right? Derek, you're a junior and defensive back.
Yes,
and
sir.
what's your expertise in track?
I'll do the 4x1, 200-meter sprint, and that's it.
Really? Now, do you participate in track year-round or just a specific season?
Just during the spring.
Just during the
Yes,
spring?
sir.
Okay. And then Kendall Allen, Kendall, you're a senior.
Yes, sir.
Now, how much do you participate in track? Is it just a one season for you two?
It's just a one-season thing.
In the
Yes, sir.
spring? And what do you do? What's your expertise?
I usually do the 4x1 and the 100.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Now, you're the 4x100 and which one?
The 100 meter.
Okay, so yours is more speed oriented,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay, so when you're competing in track, I know there are different sports. You end up competing with people, and you'll do it from more than 1 year sometimes, 2 or 3 years. You go up against the same people. Is there anybody like that that you go up against that you got extra motivation to want to be the best you can be?
Not really. I really just go for like the fastest time.
Really?
So every time I run a 100 meter, I go for the fastest time, or I try to beat my last time.
Right.
From the last meet. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, Derek, how about you in running the track? Do you run against people that you've run against before, and you have these little battles within inside the battles?
No, sir. I say the same thing. I try to beat my time from last time. Get the fastest time as you can.
Oh, okay. And so you guys just doing that in the spring. So it's football and then track. Y'all's two sports?
Yes, sir.
Neither one of you play basketball?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Now, crazy question, but it's a pretty good question. We'll start with Derek. Which one do you like the most?
I'd say football because of the contact and
So in other words, of course, you want to be the best you can be, but what you're telling me is your track helps you in your football.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. And how about you, Kendall?
I would also have to say football. It really helps me get my mind off things. It's like when we're on the field, it's just me and my brothers playing the game.
Right. But now, because you're in speed events, I mean, it's not like the long distance running or something like that where you run and people, I've often wondered about that, try to run together or make sure you stay in certain groups.
Right.
All you're trying to make sure you're speed burning, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I know you guys are busy, so it's track and then the football, the two sports y'all are competing in, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, what I want to know is, I enjoy asking athletes like this. First of all, track, talking about the track part of it. Are you, either one of you guys superstitious? Do you have to do things a certain way, or is there anything that might be a certain way you feel like you got to do it? You got to dress. You got to do this the same way or that the same way, or does it bother you at all? And we'll start with you, Derek.
Not at all. No.
So whenever you line up to run,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't nothing but getting out there and beating everybody behind you, right?
Well, the way you set your feet, your stance, you come out head down, don't pop straight up. They give you a slow start, and yeah.
So you don't want no slow starts.
No, sir.
No. Well, what do you guys do to unwind? Like, there's a lot of playing on the football field and a lot of practice in the track. What do you do to just get away from the pressures of the sport sometimes and the books?
Sit at home, get sleep, get rest. That's about it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're pretty busy, and
Yes,
so
sir.
that would be a good thing. How about you, Kendall?
I usually just sit around, listen to music, enjoy
Really?
family time.
All right, now, Kendall, you're a senior,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Do you know where you may be going to school?
No, sir, I don't have any ideas yet.
You don't? All right, do you have any idea when you get there? Do you know what kind of class you might like to take? And in other words, do you know what you might like to do one day?
I was planning on doing engineering.
Really?
Yes, sir.
You're not going to go to Georgia Tech? Yeah, but that's engineering, I think. But that's great. I mean, you have to have goals and shoot for those. So, Derek, you got any idea where you might go one day?
I don't have no idea, but I do know I would like to major in mechanical engineering.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so neither one of you, you ever thought about coaching?
Not at all.
Say that wouldn't be for you?
I could probably see myself coaching like when I get older, maybe coaching Little League or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But as far as an occupation, probably not.
Probably not.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not, that's not for everybody. But a lot of the athletes, as you grow up, it's according to how involved you are in those sports, that might be what you want to do. But are there any, because this would be a curious question for me, are there any track athletes that you sort of would like to run like or hope to maybe do something that they've done in that sport? And we'll start with you, Derek.
No, sir, not at all. Coaches give me the run track, to get me prepared for next season, keep my body in shape, stamina, the way I run, get me faster, get me better next season.
Okay. So, I mean, there's nobody that you've seen run that, you think, I want to be that fast.
No, sir.
Okay, how about?
I'll probably have to say Usain Bolt.
Do what now?
Usain Bolt.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That guy can run from now to eternity,
Really
it seems like, doesn't it?
Yes,
Well, I
sir.
tell you what, there's something to be said about being in shape, no matter what sport it is. And we're going to digress back just a little bit to both of you play football.
Yes, sir.
And so I'll ask you this. This is a very important question. Do you think that your team is ready to play the best football it's played all season?
Yes, sir.
And you feel the same way,
Yes,
Kendall? Any no nagging injuries from anybody at this time that's going to keep what would say some of our star players out, right?
Right.
Okay.
I think we're all healthy.
Do what now?
So I think we're all healthy.
Yeah, well, and that's a very important part. The more healthy you are, the better chance you'd like to think, because you want your best players out there. Well, also, I want to fast forward a little bit to the spring and hope that both of you have outstanding seasons. Maybe put up a mark in your event that it might be hard for somebody to break. That'd be what you'd be wishing, wouldn't it?
Yes,
all right, guys. Well, listen. First of all, good luck, Kendall, and to you, especially since you're graduating and as you head off to college next year. But last question I got to this point in your young life, and we'll start with you, Kendall. Who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
Definitely my parents and my grandparents. They've really been supporting me since the start of high school. And they've been with me through the struggles and everything.
Well, it's awfully easy to go through everything when you've got support, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how about you, Derek?
My family, they call and check up me after every game, ask me how I did, what did I do. They see me on the news, tell them congratulate me, tell them good game. And as long as I see them happy.
And when they see you in track, all they want to do is see you flying.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
Even if I'm losing.
Okay, well, guys, I wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you.
Now, since we're in football season, good luck in the playoffs. Hey, somebody's got to win that 6A championship, right?
Yes, sir.
Why not Gardendale?
Yes, sir.
Okay, buddy. Well, listen, folks, once again, we've had an outstanding show, outstanding athletes, and we'll get together, do it again next week. Till then, you know what the snapper always says, bicycle.
And guys, you say bicycle.
Bicycle.
It works.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrew Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them, we're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.